I'm having so much difficulty getting comfortable on this couch right now, and I'm just thinking that it's a metaphor for the discomfort that I'm facing. It's Monday. Good morning, everybody. It is Monday. My name is Alyssa, and I don't know about you, but I feel like I could definitely use some good vibe sunshine this week. So thanks for tuning back in, and welcome to Room for Sunshine. I woke up this morning feeling so exhausted, and I don't know about you, but I am always kind of relieved when I share with a few different people, like, "Ooh, I'm really tired," and they're like, "I'm wiped. I am so tired," because then I can kind of be like, "Oh, maybe it's the moon, maybe it's the trees, maybe it's just the energy. There's probably some planet that's in retrograde," and I just feel less alone in the world. So if you woke up feeling exhausted, drained, or depleted, I am with you. And if you woke up feeling the opposite, amazing. Please stay in that. And I'm jealous of you. But wow, what a week it's been. At least speaking from my own experience, it's just been busy physically, emotionally, mentally. And I think globally, there is a lot happening. And now most of you probably tune into the news and don't need to hear about the state of the world, right? Unless you're very ignorant or choose to actively turn off all barriers to the outside world, there is so much happening that is impossible to ignore. I live on a tropical island halfway around the world from literally everything, from Europe, from the US, and I am so deeply aware of what is happening on the planet right now, environmentally, religiously, politically. And so the sunshine part of the episode hasn't come through just yet, but it's important for this week that I just start by acknowledging this podcast is not designed to make you feel a certain way about anything in the world. And I'm not here to dive into right and wrong and good and bad, but I'm here to ask questions for myself and for those who are listening so that we can collectively try and become more prepared to serve ourselves as we try and serve the world. And right now, the world needs service. The world needs healing in any way. And so I just finished a training a couple days ago, and we do a closing circle at the end of the training. If you've never been to a yoga teacher training, there's a goodbye community circle where everyone shares and reflects on the experience. And a few different people expressed distress around what was happening in the world, and especially in the US, but really everywhere, just the impact. Bali draws in people from around the world. So it's an incredible melting pot to see how all of these topics impact all of us. It's not just, a British person versus a Balinese person versus an American. There is a reliance and a harmony in how all of us are interacting through the world. So to hear different lenses is so fascinating. And a lot of people were just weighed down, quite frankly. There was a heaviness to the lack of ability that people felt they had to make change in the world. And this is a topic that I really personally have spent a lot of time with, because I would say that naturally my heart longs to give back. It just is an inherent part of what I believe my mission here on this planet is to do, is to serve in some way. And I say some way, but in my mind, I'm thinking big ways, right? Ever since I was a little girl, I've had huge dreams and aspirations for building schools and starting foundations and connecting more people through music and art and now yoga. And those dreams are still very present. They're very alive, but it can be incredibly discouraging. I don't know if the mic's going to pick this up right now. It's insect nation out here. I used to be really tuned out to the white noises of Bali, but my ears have become more sensitive again as more visitors have come through and been like, do you hear this? That's my aside. Anyways, going back to what I was talking about, helplessness. That's basically it. Helplessness. Sometimes I feel helpless, as though I don't have the ability to impact the world the way I want to. And I really saw myself in some of these people who were sharing at this closing circle, because I've spent a lot of time in that place of frustration, of anger, of pity, of pain. And it felt so real within them that it activated a part of me that I am always grateful to see. And I've had this in my yoga teaching journey where people will come up to me and thank me for the difference that I've made in their life. And for a long time, I still felt as though there was this block between, for a long time, I still do. This is something I'm working on. I'm not exempt from what I'm about to say. It is really challenging to see one person as enough, to feed one mouth on the street, to help one elderly person through a door, to meaningfully touch one person's heart and take that in as sufficient work towards healing. And it's even harder to be able to do it completely within yourself. But it is critical to do so in order to be able to make any change and any impact in the world. And I shared that with the group, that for my own experience, I've had to really navigate this grand vision, this grand dream of how I want to help in my mind, you know, the movie version of all of these things that I'm going to accomplish. And actually, in practicality, find a lot of peace in knowing that one person was able to come to a yoga practice for 90 minutes, disconnect from the parts of their mind that have been holding them back or discouraging them, and rest. Rest in Shavasana. Smile as a song that they know comes on while they're in sun salutations. To experience more self-love or more connection or more self-trust. These are fundamental qualities that we often overlook. And before we're able to even get to that point, in my opinion, where we can see one person as enough of an impact, we have to spend time believing that the work we do on ourselves is enough as it is. So that if nobody ever came up to you and said, thank you again for the work that you're doing in the world, that you could know, based on your own trust of your own presence, of the work that you've done, that your essence, your aura, your heart is transmitting something that is healing. And this is so hard, right? This isn't tangible. A lot of these things we talk about, they're not tangible. You can't weigh it on a scale. You can't track it on your iPhone app. It's a feeling. It's a knowing. And so today, my wish, my hope, my encouragement for anyone that is listening to this episode is to spend some time finding your own sense of inner peace with whatever you're not at peace with in the world. So if this election is eating at your heart, can you spend some time feeling that? Just sitting with it. If it's a celebration, great. If it's a mourning, awesome. Or if your community is currently being attacked or brutally treated in any part of the world, can you sit and grieve for that part of you that is not feeling seen, that is feeling hurt, that is disappointed? And the more we both hold space for the parts of ourselves that are angry and also hold space for the parts of ourselves that might have hope still within us, we can start to cultivate more inner peace. And by having a greater sense of inner peace that isn't based on posting on Instagram and venting about a situation or getting with all your friends and hating on the person who isn't supporting you the way you want them to, we can actually start to meaningfully know and believe that the thoughts we are having, the actions we are taking, the words we are saying are coming from a place of self-love in order to transmit love back out into the world. And we can't change the world before we change ourselves. And I think that's a crazy thing that so many people want to do. I want to do it. And why? Because it's harder. It is harder to look at yourself and find that peace within the broken parts of you than it is to look out there. But it's just a reflection. It's a reflection of all of us who are not spending the time doing the work on ourselves. So the same person that can say, F this person, they're greedy, they care about money over humanity. That same person might, vent about that and then go off and be really harmful in how they speak or gossip about themselves and other people. And it's not to say that one is better or worse. And of course, I am not here to undermine the absolute tragedies that are taking place in the world. I have communities that are being attacked and it's heartbreaking. But I know that I am of no service to my communities personally, to my belief systems, if I am not sitting down every day and asking myself, how am I being better? Did I grow from yesterday to today? Do I love myself more? Am I loving others more? Or am I just allowing more hate, more anger, more toxicity to fill up my heart? And it's really hard to do, but it's necessary. And so today's Room for Sunshine is to empower you to spend more time finding your own inner peace, to spend more time acting and living through love, especially when the world is in the place that it's in. Now is not the time to start dividing ourselves more. It is the time to start creating a wholeness within ourselves so that we can create more wholeness in our small communities, our big communities, and eventually global communities. And so it might feel heavy and dark at first, but we sometimes have to swim through shit to wake up into light. The manure's got to go down for the flower to grow. And that sunflower will grow. My sunflowers are actually outside. A friend of mine brought me sunflowers this week, and it filled my heart with joy that is now overwhelming me in a way where my exhaustion doesn't even feel as relevant as it did when I started this podcast 15 minutes ago. So that's how small an act of kindness or love can be to be meaningful. Yeah. All that being said, please take care of yourselves wherever you are in the world. Please be safe. Reach out if you need support. This community is here to share love, to be love. If you like this podcast, please send it to a friend or two or three. The more we can bring this out to people we love, the more collectively we grow and change and start to transform this world little by little. But it starts with you. And I am grateful for you being here today, joining me in my Bali living room, podcast studio, home. My name's Alyssa, and this was Room for Sunshine.